Imagine this. You wake up one morning, but the sun never rises. At first, you'd probably think it's just a cloudy day, but within minutes, the entire world realizes the sun is gone. And here's the terrifying part. No one would know for 8 minutes and 20 seconds, because the sun's last rays of light would still be traveling toward Earth. Then, without warning, day turns into night. The sky goes completely black. Temperatures begin to fall, hour by hour. Panic spreads across the planet. But would Earth instantly drift into deep space? Would humanity freeze to death immediately? Or would we still have one last chance to survive? Let's find out. What if the sun suddenly disappeared? The sun has suddenly disappeared. But on Earth, no one has any idea. Why? Because sunlight takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach Earth. That means, even though the sun no longer exists, its final rays of light are still racing toward our planet, at the speed of light. For the next 8 minutes, everything looks completely normal. People are driving to work, kids are heading to school, airplanes are carrying thousands of passengers across the sky. Ships continue sailing across the oceans. Stock markets prepare to open. Millions of people sip their morning coffee, completely unaware that the heart of our solar system has already vanished. But in space, an invisible countdown has begun. The sun's last photons and its final gravitational influence are both speeding toward Earth. Then, exactly 8 minutes and 20 seconds later, in an instant, day turns into night. The sky becomes completely black, and humanity witnesses the beginning of the... Then, exactly 8 minutes and 20 seconds later, everything changes. The last ray of sunlight disappears forever. In less than a second, the entire planet is swallowed by darkness. There is no sunrise, no sunset, no twilight, just endless night. From space, Earth becomes nothing more than a dark, frozen world. The moon vanishes too, because it only shines by reflecting the sun's light. The stars suddenly become visible, even in the middle of what was once daytime. Across the globe, people stop in their tracks. Cars pull over. Pilots stare into a pitch-black sky. Cities light up with artificial lights, trying to replace a star that can never return. Panic spreads faster than any disaster in human history. But the darkness is only the beginning, because within hours, the temperature will start dropping, and Earth's fight for survival has just begun. The first hour passes. At first, the temperature doesn't change much. Earth's atmosphere and its oceans still hold enough heat to keep most places alive. But that won't last. Within just a few hours, the average global temperature begins to fall rapidly. Cities become colder, roads start freezing, and millions of people realize this isn't a temporary blackout. The sun is never coming back. Power grids across the world are pushed to their limits. Every heater, every light, every emergency system turns on at once. Fuel disappears from stores. Supermarkets empty within hours. Panic spreads faster than the cold itself. Scientists race to explain what's happening. Governments declare global states of emergency. Military forces are deployed not for war, but to maintain order. Then, night falls, except it was already night. Without sunlight, solar panels become useless forever. Plants immediately stop photosynthesis. No new food is being produced. The entire food chain has just started collapsing. And that's only day one. 7 days later, Earth no longer looks like the planet we once knew. The average surface temperature has dropped to around -17 degrees Celsius. Rivers begin freezing. Lakes turn into ice. Snow starts falling, even in places that almost never see winter. Millions of animals cannot survive. Crops across the world die. Food becomes more valuable than gold. People rush underground, into subway tunnels, bunkers, and deep underground shelters, where geothermal heat still offers a small chance of survival. Scientists search desperately for any source of energy. nuclear power plants, geothermal stations, and underground facilities become humanity's last hope. But one terrifying question remains. Even if we can produce electricity, how long can we survive without the sun? Because every single day, the planet grows colder. 1 month later, Earth is barely recognizable. The average surface temperature has fallen to nearly -40 degrees Celsius. Most rivers, lakes, and even parts of the oceans are now covered in thick ice. From space, our planet no longer looks blue. It looks white, cold, and almost lifeless. Almost every forest is dead. Most crops have completely failed. Wild animals have disappeared. Food has become humanity's most valuable resource. Only a handful of places still have power. Underground nuclear facilities, geothermal plants, and massive survival bunkers have become the last islands of civilization. Thousands of scientists continue searching for a way to keep humanity alive, but they all know one thing. Without the sun, this battle cannot be won forever. And yet, Earth is hiding one final secret. Deep beneath the frozen surface, there is still heat. Could that heat become humanity's last hope? 1 year later, the surface of Earth is almost completely frozen. The average temperature has dropped below -70 degrees Celsius. The oceans have frozen solid at the top, but beneath several kilometers of ice, liquid water still exists. Earth's core is still producing heat. Deep underground, entire communities now live in sealed shelters, powered by nuclear reactors and geothermal energy. There is no sunrise, no blue sky, no birds, no forests, no seasons. Children born in these shelters have never seen daylight. For them, the sun isn't a memory, it's only a story. Humanity survives, but it is no longer living on the Earth we once knew. It is simply enduring. But then, one final question remains. If the sun never returns, how long can the last humans really survive? The answer is even more terrifying. Thousands of years pass. The surface of Earth has become a frozen wasteland. The air is deadly cold. Almost every trace of life has disappeared. Only a few underground colonies remain, powered by the last nuclear reactors and Earth's internal heat. But even those reactors cannot run forever. One by one, they begin to shut down. The lights go out. The heat disappears, and the last shelters become silent. Eventually, the final human takes their last breath. Earth, once filled with billions of people, becomes nothing more than a frozen planet drifting endlessly through the darkness of space. A world without sunlight, without life, without hope. But here's the incredible truth. This terrifying story is only one possible future. In reality, the sun cannot simply disappear overnight. It contains more than 99.8% of all the mass in our solar system. A star like the sun doesn't vanish in an instant. Instead, it slowly changes over billions of years. Long before the sun reaches the end of its life, scientists believe humanity could already be living on other worlds. So, while this scenario is fictional, the science behind it is very real. It reminds us of one simple fact. Every sunrise, every breath we take, every drop of rain, and every living thing on Earth exists because of one ordinary-looking star. The sun isn't just another star. It's the reason we're alive. So the next time you see a sunrise, remember, without it, there would be no tomorrow. But here's the strangest part. The universe doesn't stop. Even after Earth becomes a frozen world, the stars continue to shine. Galaxies continue to collide. New stars are born, while old ones fade away. Black holes keep growing. Planets keep orbiting distant suns. And somewhere, perhaps millions of light years away, another civilization is watching its own sunrise, completely unaware that an entire world has just gone silent. The universe doesn't slow down. It doesn't mourn. It simply moves on. And that may be the most terrifying truth of all, because in the endless ocean of space, the disappearance of one tiny planet would barely leave a trace. But for us, it would mean the end of everything. Now think about this. Every second, The sun releases an unimaginable amount of energy. That light travels across 150 million kilometers just to reach Earth in 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Without asking for anything in return, it has kept our world alive for more than 4.5 billion years. Every tree, every ocean, every animal, and every human being exists because of that one star. We often worry about the future, yet every new day begins with a gift we rarely notice: a sunrise. So maybe the greatest lesson isn't what would happen if the sun disappeared. It's realizing how incredibly lucky we are that it never has. And until the day it finally reaches the end of its life, every sunrise is a reminder that Earth is still alive